just have to be really careful that we are living in reality. You know, we're living in the reality of life. Life is a gift, right? Your spouse is a gift. Remember, you prayed for them after all.
And I think it's important to understand that through a marriage life, through the timeline of the marriage, seasons are going to change.
Right. I can't wait for what the future holds. Like, I can't wait for the years ahead. And here we are now living in the years ahead. We've been through it. We've had moments where we've questioned.
We've doubted.
Where we've been challenged through this beautiful, ugly,
messy,
chaotic,
complicated,
amazing life.
Absolutely.
Hey everyone, I'm Dr. WeTheGarzas Jr.
And I'm Ruby Garza, licensed marriage and family therapist. Hi everyone.
How's it going? Here we are. This mechanism, this podcast is moving forward. Again, this is the Marriage Matters podcast, and we're excited and so grateful that you would join us today.
Yes, exactly. We've been talking about some really interesting topics.
Yeah.
And we actually got started last session or sorry, I'm a therapist. I'm calling it session. But we got started on this in our previous podcast.
Right.
We were talking about marriage assassins.
Okay, so we'll talk about that right now. I want to encourage you, if you haven't yet, go to our YouTube channel, subscribe, follow us on Instagram and Facebook as well. These topics are good topics, we think. I think they're relevant topics, and I'm very appreciative. We're very appreciative of all the feedback that we're getting in the comments, so thanks. And please share this with someone. Today, as Ruby said, we're going to continue with marriage assassins. The last podcast, we talked about two of them, and we're going to try to hit two more today.
Right.
What were the two from last time? Do you remember?
Well, before we kind of review on it,
okay.
we had been talking about before we started filming, what are marriage assassins? What do they do
right.
to a marriage, to a relationship? And basically, what a marriage assassin aims to do is to literally what it says. It's to kill, destroy, disrupt the good union between a husband and a wife, between an important relationship. So that's what we're talking about.
Right.
Trying to bring awareness so that we are able to catch these assassins if we're engaged in them, if we're involved in them, to get rid of them so that we can draw closer to each other and not pull ourselves apart.
Yeah.
So yes, what were those first two that we talked about?
It was physical exhaustion and overcommitment.
Correct.
And the second one was
keeping up with the Joneses.
Yeah, comparison, right?
Correct.
All the mess of that. So today, let's do it. Let's go into the third one, which is
selfishness.
I think we're going to step on some toes with this one. But I think we've all been guilty at one point or another. We've all been guilty of treading this water.
Well, right? I think that when we talk about selfishness, or this idea is, when we're born into this world, there's a level of ego that hits us, right? Yeah. Babies, they're all about themselves. So selfishness, honestly, if we're honest, it's a level of immaturity.
Sure.
So as we progress, as we begin to understand the world, that it's not just about us, we let go of these selfish habits.
Right.
So we want to talk about why selfishness is so bad and why it really destroys and disrupts the union between a husband and a wife.
Well, let's talk, selfishness. Some of the... I guess some of the synonyms for that would be pride, would be ego, would be self, right? So selfishness, what have you seen when we're talking about selfishness? Right now we're talking about, we've been brought into this world where, there's a scene in a movie, Finding Nemo. I remember this movie because the boys a long time ago, they used to watch this, right? And there was a scene towards the end, I believe, that these seagulls are chasing. I think I don't know if it's Nemo himself or not. I don't remember. If you can correct me there, but there's a fish or something that's flopping on the pier. And they all start going, mine, right? So, portraying, right, the selfishness is all about me. It's all about
Right.
my intentions, my wants, my desires. And so this could come into a marriage relationship and really wreak havoc.
Right, exactly. Because when you think about a marriage, it's a union between two people. And obviously, if you are a Christian and you're a believer, you understand that it's two people with the idea that God holds you both together.
Yeah, well-
so selfishness cannot exist
Yes, right.
inside the union of a marriage covenant.
The Bible says that two become one, right? So what selfishness tries to do is tries to work in on one side of the equation when there should only be one really representation in the equation, right? Two separate people that are coming to form one, but
And it really takes time to reflect and evolve from selfishness into this idea of oneness, because maybe you got married when you were 25 years old, let's say.
Yeah.
So for 25 years, you've been functioning, taking care of yourself, watching out for yourself, doing everything for you.
Yeah.
And then you come into this union and all of a sudden you have to have this mentality that it's not about me, it's about us.
that's right. So we've talked about two different people, givers and
Takers.
takers.
Right.
Talk a little bit about that.
So when we talk about takers, what is a taker? A taker is someone who, as we're talking about, who is selfish, who doesn't see that it's important to give of the blessings
Yeah.
that God has given them. It's just me, 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 me. So when we're talking about givers, well, it's the opposite. A giver is someone who feels like they're just a conduit of the blessings of God, and whatever they receive, they want to share. And
or the blessings of the world.
right.
Right. I mean, we're talking about money. We're talking about just life experiences, right? One of the things that I've taught and I've noticed is that givers live with their arms, or their hands, I should say, wide open. These are people that not only receive the blessing, but they give the blessing. They don't hoard it. They don't hold on to it. It's not like a fistful of things. No, it's more like I receive them, and because I received them by grace. I received them through the blessings of God. I received them through the mind that the Lord has given me to do my job, to do the things that I do, and I get paid for them. There's income that comes in. There's peace that comes in. There's all these other tangible and intangible attributes that come. But these people, they live like this.
Right. If it's good, I want to give it and I want to share it with others.
Oh.
So when you're talking about a marriage and you're considering two givers in a marriage, that's the best combination.
Absolutely.
But when you have a giver and you have a taker, well, friction is inevitable.
Yeah.
There's going to be some discussions that need to be had because one is a giver and one's a taker. But when you have two takers in a marriage, it really disrupts because they're thinking of themselves, not one another and not anyone else, not even their children.
Yeah.
So the idea, right, what is the solution? If this marriage assassin exists inside of your marital union, what can you do? Well, first of all, I think awareness is key. You need to take a good look in the mirror.
Right.
And you need to take some accountability. Have a deep, honest conversation with your spouse. Hey, I'm not going to get offended, but I'm going to give you the space.
Right.
Do you see any signs of selfishness
Yeah.
in what I do, in the way I behave?
It's a battle.
Right.
I mean, let's be really honest. This is a battle. A battle to oneself, because the battle is internal. I tell people often, I said, the competition is not out there. The competition is in here.
Right.
It's about being a better man every day, a better husband every day, to who I was yesterday, to who I was a year ago, 5 years ago, 20 years ago. I like to believe that, I'm not the same husband that I was 5 years ago as I am today. I'm not the same father that I am, now than I was back then. For example, I'll use me as an example. I grew up never washing dishes, right? Like that was just
True story.
when we got married, I wouldn't do that. That's just not. It's something that I did. I should say I did in my home with my parents, but we got married. We started living life. I was working. You were working. We were having children. our lives got more intertwined in ministry. And so what do we do is just, okay, I had to realize, like, I can't just solely depend on you to wash dishes all the time. I use dishes as an example. There are other things that we could use, but I started kind of trying to put myself in your position.
And that's exactly what we're supposed to do.
Yeah.
That's the solution, is to take your eyes off of you and look to see what the needs are around you and put yourself in other people's shoes.
Yeah.
And I think in that moment you realize, like, we're both highly involved with our children, highly involved in ministry, highly involved in our careers.
Right.
It would not be fair for you to kick off your boots, put
Yeah.
your feet up and just
Relax.
watch football.
Sure.
But, if we could do this together, that, you remove that code of, maybe it wasn't selfishness, or maybe it was, but it came with this awareness.
Right.
And that's the key. Take your eyes off of you, look at the needs in front of you, and then insert yourself in that. Be a blessing. Be open to take the load off of others.
Right. So I'm going to put you on the spot here really quick, but I do want to say this. For those guys out there, it's okay. It's okay. I give you permission. You can wash dishes. Maybe you can help with the clothes.
You're still going to be a man after you're done.
That's it right there. You're still going to be a man, all right? You're still going to be el jefe. You're still going to be the head of household.
Yes.
But hey, if you can help, let's help.
Right.
There's some days where I can't help because of my busy schedule. You get home before me, or you have your days a little bit different than mine, so you'll do it.
Right.
Guess what we're doing with our sons too?
Yeah, we're teaching them to wash dishes.
We're teaching them that, hey, this is part, or can be part,
Right.
of losing yourself to the betterment of the family unit, and in one day, hopefully, their wives will thank us for this. So, but let me put you on the spot. Is there something that you can go back to and think, hey, you know what? 5 years ago, 10 years ago, 1 year ago, 20 years ago, I really wouldn't do this, but now I do. Is there anything like that? I don't know. I'm putting her on the spot, guys. So
perfect. I don't.
Well, yeah, I can't argue too much with that.
No, I guess I think one of the things, if you don't know this about me, I don't like the spotlight. So even now, doing this is difficult for me. But I understand that my husband, he loves to speak to others. He loves to pour blessings into others. He loves to talk about the goodness of God. So for me, it's been a challenge, when I've had to help you within ministry.
True, yes.
And I've had to stand next to you in front of the camera. That's a sacrifice for me, because I could be in my little cubby talking to my clients all day long, and
Sure.
I'm happy as can be. But really sitting behind the camera, believe it or not, is somewhat of a challenge.
Yeah.
And I do that because I know how important and how meaningful it is for you.
Yeah, and so Ruby didn't grow up in a ministry home. Let's put it that way. So I know a lot of things that she does in ministry have been things that she's had to kind of strip her desire away, right? Strip herself away in a sense, or her persona, to be able to stand in the gap, for others, to be able to do things like this. So I'm grateful for you, and thank you for doing this. This is fun. So marriage assassin number 3 was selfishness, right? And I think the solution is look into yourself.
Right.
Jesus gives us the best example of them all. John 10:11 says, Jesus says, I am the good shepherd, and the good shepherd lays down his life for his sheep, right? And that's basically what it comes down to, is we lay down our pride and our ego for our spouse. Hey, it's not above me. We're going to help each other out. This is not something I'm not supposed to do because I'm a man, or it's not something I'm supposed to do because I'm a woman. No, we lay ourselves down sacrificially for each other, for the health and the betterment of our marriage and our family unit. So let's go to number 4.
Okay, so number 4, that was beautiful, by the way.
Thank you.
Number 4, marriage assassin number 4 is unrealistic expectations.
Oof.
And I really think this is a really difficult and a challenging assassin in our culture today, just because we go back to one of the assassins that we spoke of last time. It's not exactly keeping up with the Joneses, but we read books, we watch movies, And these books and these movies paint this
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
fairy tale marriage where, if they do fight, it's only for a season. And then once they hatch that battle, then it's
happily ever after. I think that's
happily ever after. And so the idea is that we need to be real about the expectations that we have for our spouse, but also for ourselves, And so that is marriage assassin number 4, unrealistic expectations.
Movies, Netflix, Hulu, Paramount, all of these, right? These books, this facade of social media, this facade of Facebook, right? Sorry, Facebook, has really, really manipulated our senses.
Correct.
We think that everything is just a flip of a switch. Everything is just a 10-second formula, and after that, what's hatched next is the best season of your life. And I believe that the many marriages are failing to understand that marriage number 1 is work.
Yeah, because after all, if we're real, we are imperfect humans.
Right.
I'm imperfect. You're imperfect. We're going to be in bad moods sometimes. My hair might not curl the way I want it. My makeup might not look the way I want it to look. You might wake up on the wrong side of the bed. My tortillas might burn. It's not ever going to be perfect.
Right.
And the sooner that we accept that our marriage is not going to look like anyone else's marriage except our own, we sit down, we have a conversation. And I think that, so often we talk about how this is the solution, but it really is. If you expect your husband to come home and sweep you off your feet and carry you, to the bedroom, whatever it is, but you're not communicating that, then you're not giving space so that you can compromise. Like, okay, babe, I'm not going to come in that way, but you know what? I can give you a kiss. That's important for you. Then let's compromise. That's something that's important for you.
Right.
I think it's neat. We're going to do it. Have these conversations about how you can squash these unrealistic expectations and then set some real ones that will satisfy those needs that you are currently experiencing.
Yeah, I think for some marriages, for example, the sexual gratification thing is something that now, because of technology, can be faked so well. Right. Man, I speak to men all the time, right? And not anyone in particular, not even people inside the church, just people inside and outside, people that I know. They come into this sexual frustration, and so for sexual gratification, because they're men that they have their needs or whatever. They go into pornography, they go into watching illicit movies, or just even, unfortunately, texting other women or getting into an emotional affair. And they start opening up this gate because they're thinking that life for them should be like how it is on certain social media platforms, or on something that they saw on Instagram, or on something that they read in a book or in a magazine or whatever that would be.
Even the way it used to be when they first got married.
Right.
And I think it's important to understand that through a marriage life, through the timeline of the marriage, seasons are going to change.
Right.
But as long as you're connected again in communication, I need more of this, and I don't feel like, my needs are being fulfilled in this area. How can you help me? What can I do to encourage this? Not as a scolding or demeaning conversation, but something that is gentle and productive.
We were saying humans, right? We're imperfect. Humans have certain needs, right? Of course.
Correct.
I have
God-given needs.
Right, absolutely. They're given by the Lord and the design for man and woman and for marriage.
Right.
We just have to be really careful that we are living in reality. We're living in the reality of life. Life is a gift, right? Your spouse is a gift. Remember, you prayed for them after all. You asked your best friend to hook you up, right? To give you that phone number, to give you that email address or that contact information. You did all of this.
You stole it from the Sunday school list when you were 15 years old. Do you remember that?
I'm sorry, what were you saying? Anyways, moving on. We're imperfect. And we have to understand that no one posts no one posts their worst days.
Right.
No one posts their problems. There's no movies where the entire 90 minutes of the movie is just problem after problem after problem. Like there's always a solution. The relationship always works out one way or another. I mean, this is society's interpretation of what a real life looks like,
Right.
but it's unreal. So be really careful of your image of marriage, your image of each other. Sometimes we wake up in the mornings and my hair is out of place. I'm just kidding. All right. But I don't look my Sunday's best on Monday morning. Does that make sense?
Right.
Like Sunday's best, man. Now, I'm a preacher. I'm gonna dress up. I'm gonna look, presentable. Monday mornings, I mean,
Right.
come on.
That is our day off.
I don't look like Sunday morning on a Monday morning, right? Or Sunday church time, and that's okay. Because we're human, we're real, and we're gonna work through these real situations, and we're gonna see the beauty even in the realness.
Right. And I think the most beautiful thing about an honest marriage, an authentic marriage, is that no one else in this world gets to see you the way I see you, in the rawness of life, in the rawness of your wardrobe, your character. No one else sees you except me.
Yeah.
And by the same token, no one else sees me the way you see me. So there's beauty in that. And I really think it boils down to the narrative that you give your marriage. So if you see, the progression and the wrinkles and the little tire around the waist as a problem, and you speak it as a problem, then it always is going to be a problem. If you change the narrative and you give it substance, and you see the beauty of it, and the moments that are difficult, you'll look at the pictures where you were both smiling and you say, okay, I'm going to get back to that. What do I need to do so that I can take steps towards drawing closer to my husband or closer to my wife? It really is up to the person.
I'll end with this. Lately, we've been cleaning out our office at home. And there's paperwork in there for about 20 years ago. Okay,
I think 1999 was.
Okay, more. Okay, maybe 25 years ago. Let's look at that. And we've been cleaning it out, shredding, and within this paperwork, we're seeing what our lives look like then. We weren't even married yet, right? There's some check stubs that are yours that you're signing, and it's kind of nostalgic. One of the cards that I read that you wrote to me, I think it was a happy anniversary card. Aiden must have been, he's our oldest, he must have been a little boy. And
he's 20 now.
He's 20 now. And you said, something to the extent, towards the end, I can't wait for what the future holds. Like, I can't wait for the years ahead. And here we are now living in the years ahead.
But even in that verbiage, the anticipation and the expectation for something beautiful.
Yeah, absolutely. But within those 20 years, and we've been through it. We've had moments where we've questioned.
We've doubted.
Where we've been challenged through this beautiful, ugly,
messy,
chaotic,
complicated,
amazing life.
Absolutely.
There's been moments where we've maybe been unrealistic, but I'm going to get a little biblical here, right? Our anchor has always been Christ.
Absolutely. Always.
Through everything. Even in our moments, and we don't have time to get into all of that, but I do want to encourage you today. is be fair to your spouse in your expectations. Life's changed. I don't look the same way that I looked. I had flowing, beautiful long hair when we got married, and that's not me anymore. But our lives, our maturity, our process has brought us to enjoy every minute and to now be able to acknowledge the beauty of what we've been through, even though it's been ugly at times.
The beauty of what we have built together through the choices that we have made as one.
Okay, well, we could keep going, but we're going to end right here. This is Marriage Matters. Our Marriage Matters podcast is, I hope you see that we're giving you our heart, and we hope that we're able to pour into your life one way or another. I'm Dr. WeTheGarzas Jr.
And I'm Ruby Garza, licensed marriage and family therapist.
We will see you on the next one.
Bye-bye.